Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining us today at King Scale's Kitchen. We're super excited to share with you what we've been working on all summer. Chef Mitch and myself have been testing recipes all summer, tasting foods, trying out new things. And there are a couple of things we're really excited about, and two of those we're going to share with you today. Something that's pretty familiar, tacos. We're putting our own little spin on it. We're super excited today to share with you our beef barbacoa tacos and our black bean vegan tacos. So we're going to go through ingredients, we're going to go through technique, philosophy, we're going to show you how to make it, how to put it together, how to eat it. So we're really excited about this stuff. So let's walk us through these things. I'm just going to go over some ingredients really quickly. We actually have some black beans here. These are local black beans. We have some in the raw form and some in the soaked form. So we soak these for about 2 hours. Yeah. We have some dried ancho chilies. Look how gorgeous those are. These are the same anchos in the soaked form, which you can smell it because they smell really good both ways and they take on a very different texture. They start to fall apart. For the beans themselves, we've got some lime juice, some onions, garlic, some cilantro, some bay leaf, cumin, oregano, some chipotle peppers, some grilled heirloom tomatoes. We have some cotija cheese for those beans if you want to add that. If not, they're completely vegan. Salt and pepper. Basically, we're going to slow cook those for about at least an hour until they're nice and soft. Then we're going to season them up. And for the beef tacos, we have beef barbacoa. We're using beef shank. Maybe as a cut that most people aren't familiar with. We love this cut for many reasons. One, I'm going to pick it up. Is the marrow bone right there in the middle has got a lot of flavor in it. When we slow cook this, because it needs to, it's actually from the shin. It's used quite a bit, and so that means it's usually tough. So it needs a long, slow cook. We cook it low and slow. It breaks down all the tendons, and then that marrow melts out. It gets real unctuous all up into that beef. It's so delicious. We're really excited about that. Brown sugar. We have garlic, some limes. We have a little lime juice, beef stock. More cumin and oregano. We've got some Kitchen Garden salsa. If you guys don't know Kitchen Garden, they're an awesome place to get fresh produce in the valley. And then we have some of our red taqueria sauce, which is ancho chili based, so you get more of that sort of pruny, smoky, delicious chili flavor. Not very spicy, but it's there. So we're super excited about all these flavors. Basically, what we feel is really cool about these tacos is in the presentation, they're simple. They're about 4 ingredients to present, but all these ingredients go into the making them. So if we take care and love into producing these, for instance, the beans take a long time to cook, but man, is it worth it. It's the same thing with the beef. It takes a long time to cook, but ooh, is it worth it. So a little bit of time and love beforehand produces a really complex flavor profile, but a really simple presentation and really easy to do at home. So I'm going to bounce over to Mitch. He's going to show you exactly what we did, and then we're going to sort of get into it a little bit. So if you have any questions, pop them up there, and thanks so much.
All right, so like Dino just went over everything, we're going to start with the bean dish today. So the beans are really simple. It starts off with some sweated garlic and onions, and then we pretty much just add all of the pepper, the chipotle peppers, the tomatoes, and spices until it stews down, until it gets nice and thick. The consistency that you're looking for is very similar to like a chili, just like slightly thicker though, if you want to put it onto a taco and scoop it out so it stays together when you go to eat it. So we can start making that now. We have a pot back here that's been hot. Okay, put some fire on it. First off, we need some oil. A touch of oil to it. We're going to add our garlic and onions. So you want to sweat these for about 3 to 5 minutes until they're just translucent. So while those are cooking, we can go over the beef barbacoa recipe. So that was pretty cool. So that beef itself is going to get nice and caramelized when you cook it. You want to have like a nice bark around it before it goes into the oven, so it develops that nice sweet flavor once it gets the barbacoa sauce over it. So we're gonna let that pan get hot. In the meantime, you always want to make sure you season your meat, salt and pepper. You can be generous with this. That sauce is really going to take on a lot of that flavor. And we're just going to add a touch of oil. Now, you don't want to add too much oil to the pan. This the meat that's in here has a lot of connective tissue and fat, so you will get a lot of splatter if you add too much oil to the pan. That side down. You always want to make sure you season both sides of your meat. You don't want just one side of your food tasting good. Okay. So our onions and garlic are looking good, nice and translucent. So what we're going to do next is take our seasonings. So we've got oregano, cumin, and bay leaves. But cumin, when you add it to the garlic and onions, it's really going to explode with flavor. It's going to be very fragrant, and that's what you're looking for. You want the seasoning to kind of get a lot brighter in the dish instead of just adding it to a wet sauce. Add that to it. And we're just going to let that cook for about a minute. And then we're going to add all of our members. Where's Dino? Need some water. Thank you. Putting there. Alright, so the cumin has had enough time to really release, very fragrant right now. Now we're going to add our chilies and tomatoes. Thank you. So this recipe calls for 1 chipotle chili pepper. These chilies are very, very hot. So what we did is we pre-chopped them. And so I'm going to assume close to about a heaping teaspoon is going to equal 1 chili pepper. You can see them when they come in the jar, they're about that big. So that's about as equal to the mouse that we have usually. So we'll add that there. Our tomatoes. This is also going to stop the cooking process of the onions and the garlic. So once that moisture hits it, everything kind of stays the color that it is. Okay, so this is going to be ready to flip. It's going to have a nice brown caramelization right here. So really, really nice right in through there. The marrow is starting to get loose. So we're going to let that go for just another minute on that side. Alrighty. Now we've got our beans. We add our beans and our water. And if you don't, you can use any type of liquid. If you want to make it vegetarian, you can use water or veggie stock. You could use chicken or beef broth. It doesn't matter. But our recipe calls for just adding water to get all that extra flavor in there. So once the beef is all set on the other side here, we're going to add it to the other ones that we already did. So this is going to be just set aside. If you have one at home, a Dutch oven works really well. Any type of deep platter with a lid can work really well when you make this at home. So we're just going to leave this to the side and we're going to come back and make the sauce. So the beans are just about there for the first set of seasoning. We're just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper now, and then we're going to let this finish in the oven. You can wrap it, you can do any of those types of things, or you can just let it go on the stove with a cover on top. It's going to take about an hour of cook time, but usually doing it in the oven, it's low and slow, it's really easy, you don't have to keep an eye on it and be worried about it smelling. we're going to make our barbacoa sauce. So this is really, really flavorful. It's got a lot of different adjuncts and flavors in it. So first things first, we're going to start with our liquid. Okay, so this is beef stock. We're going to add the beef stock to it. I think this is just a little under 2 cups there. Brown sugar. Now this is cumin and oregano again. A couple cloves of garlic. And then these are our soaked ancho chilies. So Dino was showing you before, they start off like this, and then they end up looking like this. This is after it's been charred on the stove top. So you wanna make sure that the dried chilies get a little bit of a char. It really releases a lot of extra flavor. So we're gonna take these 2 chilies that we have here and add them right to it as well. And then this is our lemon juice and apple cider vinegar. So all that's gonna go in there. And then a generous amount of salt and pepper. And this is to taste. So once you are finished with your sauce, you're gonna taste it again, make sure it tastes good. But after it cooks in the oven with that beef, you also might want to season it one more time right before shredding it, just to make sure it has the proper salt content. Right. So if you're at home and you're listening with headphones, this is going to be loud. If it works. It's not working. Okay. Here, wait. Try this. That's not the right plug either. Sorry, technical difficulties. One moment. Can you see this?
It's a little insight into a real working kitchen. Sometimes things go the way you want them to, sometimes they don't. Mitch is gonna blend that up in the back, and that's fine too. But a couple of notes on these chili peppers. One thing that Mitch said is that we want to toast them first. What that does is release the oils, and then we kind of take the seeds out. And I'm gonna open this up for you so you can see it. It's obviously filled with seeds, which can impart a bitter flavor. It also adds a little bit more spice, so you can leave those in if you want, but generally speaking, once they get toasted, they become bitter. We want to remove those and just keep the flesh. This flesh has like almost a chocolatey flavor to it. It's got a fruity flavor. When it's soaked, it really blooms that flavor. The flavor of these anchos is sort of going to be the dominant flavor profile moving through this, particularly in the marinade. So you get this really, really beefy flavor, the unctuousness from the marrow, and all of a sudden you got this ancho chili. It's like giving it all a big hug. And what we get at the end of this is just this amazing beef. And so a lot of times with beef tacos, we're used to ground beef, right? That's, which can be delicious too, but we really, really fell in love with the shanks for what their versatility is and how different they are. And so there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. So just a note on anchos, really, really beautiful chilies. They're really, really versatile, super delicious. It's one of the reasons why we love them. So I'll bounce it back to Mitch, and thanks for listening.
Alrighty. Thankfully we have him here. So once your beef is all set up in its container, what you're going to do is after you've blended your seasonings together, you're just going to pour it over the top and then throw it in the oven to let it braise. So these braises, because of how thick the meat is, because of how tough it can be, can take upwards of 3 hours in the oven. So what we're going to do is bake this in the oven, braise this in the oven at 325 degrees for about 3 hours. That's generally what it will take to make sure that this is fully done. You always want to make sure you have a nice tight wrap around the outside of it, or a heavy duty lid. Now, because of the beauty of television, we actually have everything already done. So we'll show you how to make these tacos ourselves.
It's worth noting too that we're using corn tortillas for this. You could certainly use flour if you like those better. We like the sweetness and the texture of corn tortillas. We just feel like it just makes more sense. But again, you can do it however you want. With this stuff, it's so good. You can put it on a cracker. You can put it on a piece of bread if you want. But tacos is really where it's at. And so Mitch is going to put these together for you.
All right.
What I'm going to do is put a couple of these on the flat top to get them nice and warm.
All right, so these are the barbacoa ones that we've done previously to get ready for us today. So as you can see, they're already shredded. So what we did, the next method of prep after they've been put in the oven, you're supposed to shred the meat and take the sauce and put it back on the stove and reduce the sauce by half. So that sauce is going to intensify more. The pepper flavor, the beefy flavor, it's all just going to get pretty much twice as strong. And then after it's been shredded, you add it back to the meat, and then you just kind of let it stew and marinate and pick up all those extra bits of flavor, and then it's ready to go on the taco. So we're just going to take this and start building.
It's worth mentioning too that Mitch is talking about building tacos, but through this whole process, what we've been doing is building flavor. And so we keep building flavor profile upon flavor, and so what you start to get is this really complex, dense, intense flavors, and so that's sort of the backbone of what we're doing. And now we're just going to physically build the tacos and eat them. But the reason we take so long to do the process is because we build those flavors. Every step of the way is building another level of flavor, making these tacos just so good. I wish you guys could share it with us right now, but you will at some point during the semester, and we can't wait to have that experience.
Okay. You want to play them on this one? Alright.
You might be surprised at how simple this is. Basically, each taco is going to get sauce. I'm going to put this right here. And so basically you got that ancho sauce. I mean, look at the color of that. It's just gorgeous. It's brick red. It's full of flavor. It's really cool. So basically what we do for the beef. Yep. Just about a spoonful of sauce right on there. Gonna spread it around. Next we get some of that beef. I wish you all could smell this beef. It's fantastic. Get about 2 ounces of beef right on there. Then we're gonna do a little pickled carrots, which the pickles are super simple. It's basically water, sugar, vinegar, salt. And these are quick pickles, so that means we take that brine, pour it right over the raw vegetable, and just let it sit. So basically you've got that. What I'm going to do here, add a little of that cilantro, maybe a lot. So when you're doing these tacos at home, this is how we do them. It's very simple. It's basically 4 ingredients. But at home, you can do whatever you want. You can hit it with hot sauce. You can put red onions on it. There's a million ways that you can do this to your own preference. This is just a simple, amazingly delicious taco. Now we're going to do the beans. Just as simple, just as easy. For this, we like the Kitchen Garden red chili salsa. It's really fresh, really delicious. Sort of counterbalances the density of the beans. Quick note too on creating balance here is like we have this really dense sauce, really dense beef, and then we do the pickles, and the pickles add this freshness that cut through the fat and the unctuousness of that, creating balance. So when you take a bite, you definitely want to go back and get another bite. For the beans, we're sort of doing that same thing, but in a little bit different way. We like the spiciness of the Kitchen Garden salsa against the beans. These beans are definitely have a little bit more liquid, so they're going to be a little bit messier to eat, but that's okay too, because tacos should be messy, I think. Some cilantro, which is really nice. At this point, if you wanted to keep it vegan, you'd leave it just like that, and you can enjoy it with some pickles as well. So for this, I'm just going to add some pickled carrots. And if you wanted to add some of that cotija cheese, then you could. It wouldn't be vegan, but it'd still be vegetarian at that point. Really, really simple. They're tacos, right? We've seen a million tacos in our lives, but we feel that these are special. We feel that these are different. They're way different than any other tacos we've had on campus, so we're excited for everybody to taste and eat those. But we want to eat these right now. So we're going to maybe plate a couple more, but if you have any questions, get them in there right now. Again, so we basically are, one of the key techniques in this, which I forgot to mention, is really warming those tacos. Getting the flavor out of them, getting them pliable. I mean, the last thing you want to do is get your great taco, try to eat it, and it breaks in half and all the stuff falls on your lap. We don't want that. What we want is a nice, warm, pliable taco. And by the way, when you warm it, all of that sweetness of the corn comes through, and so this is another level of flavor. And so we build these actually in levels as well, because when you bite it, it creates balance in your mouth, and you start to be like, oh my god, this is really, really different, this is really, really crazy. And you can eat as many of them as you want. So that's it. That's a beef barbacoa. Those are black bean tacos. We've got other versions of these tacos on our menu, so come try them out. Any questions?
What are the tacos?
So we've got pork carnitas, which are amazing. And so those tacos get a kitchen garden tomatillo salsa, and the pork shoulder we cook in oil with cinnamon and oranges, garlic, some anchovies, and we let that cook again slow and low, so it just falls off the bone. They are amazing as well. We've got black bean, we've got pork, we've got chicken. Chicken taqueria is also one of our favorite. Again, marinated and then cooked really slow and low.
Pastor sauce.
Pastor sauce. Not a traditional pastor taco, but we sort of borrowed from it to make those tacos a little bit different. Really, really very cool.
Did you guys make the pickles in-house?
Yes, those pickles are made in-house. Like I said, super simple. If anybody wants those recipes, email us. They're really, really easy. Any other questions? So Mitch is putting some of that cotija cheese on those. That cheese has a very salty flavor, almost like feta, but a little bit creamier. It adds another dimension of flavor to those. A lot of times we're used to some of the tacos that will maybe have sour cream or cheddar cheese and guacamole. You'll notice that none of that appears here. We're not doing any of that here. What we're doing is like building different flavors. Not that there's not a place for all that other stuff, but we feel that this is the way to go. Who doesn't want to eat that? I'm gonna eat that. Would you guys be okay if we took a bite? We're gonna remove our masks for a second. Oh my god. So good. Nice job.
Me too.
Any more questions? Keep them coming. If not, thank you all so much for joining us. We had a great time sharing this with you. I wish you could be here and eat it with us, but that'll come soon. Stay safe and be well, and we'll see you on campus soon. Thanks for joining us again. Bye.
Bye-bye.